Good afternoon. My name is Sean McGuire, and I'm the Executive Director at the Albany County Land Bank. It is 3:33 p.m. on Wednesday, November 12, 2025. We're calling to order a meeting of the Land Bank's Real Estate Committee, and we're holding this meeting remotely per New York State Open Meetings Law. This meeting is available on the Land Bank's YouTube channel for listening and viewing. Today, participating on the committee call, we have the following board members: Charles Toohey, Sam Wells, and Joe Seaman Graves. From the Land Bank staff, we have joining us, you have myself, Shelby, Susan, Lillian, and Jason. Lynette is on vacation this week. The agenda was circulated to the committee ahead of time. It has a number of items. I think we're missing the minutes on this one, too.
Yes.
So if we can set the minutes aside to next month, there's just a hiccup with getting these packets assembled. We'll just move through down to item 3, which is the new enforcement and compliance items. If there is no objection, item 3C, enforcement updates, we'd like to hold to the end of the meeting because there could be proposed pending or current litigation around enforcement actions, and so we'd like to enter executive session to do that. Any objections to shifting the meeting accordingly?
None here.
All right, hearing none. All right, thanks, Sam. Hearing none, I'll turn it over to the team to start talking about our enforcement and compliance items. Lillian is up first.
Hello there. Happy Wednesday, y'all. So first on the matrix here, we have, let's see, the Albany Street lots, 22, 66, 68, and 70 Albany Street. This is a request from the buyer for a extension of the option agreement. The applicant has experienced delays with the City of Albany Planning Department and has retained an architect to complete the drawings, but has had multiple pre-application meetings with the City Building Department. However, given schedule conflicts and delays with the existing architect on record, they have decided to retain a new engineer to complete the plans and proceed with the application. The applicant respectfully requests a 1-year extension in an abundance of caution just to get the work done, and is anticipated that the local permitting approvals could be approved by the second quarter of 2026. The applicant will then proceed with financing and closing with the land bank in summer 2026, followed by construction shortly thereafter. The staff recommendation is to approve the buyer's request for the extension of the option agreement.
Just to refresh my memory here, the option agreement, they are responsible for maintenance and insurance costs, right?
That's right.
Yep. Okay. I have no problem with this.
Okay.
Yeah, none here. Dan Hirschberg's good. So I'm glad to see they're retaining him.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so the second item is 182 Breveter Street. The buyer had lived across the street at 181 Breveter for several years, but has since moved and is now requesting a release of the reverter clause to sell the lot at 182 Breveter Street. The staff recommendation is to approve the buyer's request to release the reverter so that they can sell the lot.
It's Natisha. I'm back on.
Hi, Natisha.
How are you?
Any questions or concerns about this 182 Breveter Street?
When they get a
Go ahead,
buyer,
Charlie.
they come to us, right? We vet the buyer, right? A reverter doesn't mean they can just sell it to anybody. We still can put eyes on the buyer.
Yes, we could vet the buyer for sure.
Yeah, good.
Is
Well,
that,
for sure. Isn't that the point of that's what the land bank does? We don't just give it back and say do whatever you want with it. We're always in there trying to vet whoever they're asking us to. We vetted them, and now we're going to vet the future buyer. And I just want to make sure that procedurally that still stands with us.
Absolutely, yes. We can indicate that as a contingency of the approval.
Well, it should be in the documents when they buy the property. They should know.
So we can make sure legally, whenever we do this. By the way, if you ever want to sell the property,
Our standard language in the agreement just, and I'm gonna oversimplify it, just says that there's a restriction from selling the property for 5 years without prior approval by the land bank. And we can do that one of two ways. We can just remove, release the reverter and let them go ahead and sell, or we can, do what you'd like to do here, which is continue to vet the new buyer. So we'll include that in here.
by hearing that if they own it for 5 years, they can do anything they want with it and not check with us?
Yep, after 5 years, the reverter comes off, and they're free and clear to sell that property. That's
That's not
been
what we
standard
want.
for the land bank.
Standard,
Yeah.
standard?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
we've-
always been the land bank's practice.
Right. Yeah, I don't see a reason why we should accommodate the buyer's request here. Again, it's within the 5 years. They were aware of this at the time of purchase. And we want to, review the potential buyer. So unless the applicant has a, particular reason why, I don't see why we should approve this request.
All right.
I'm not, when they say they're requesting that we release the reverter, but the reverter is for us to review the person, right? And so we would never do that, right? We're not saying you can't sell it, but they're saying, if I'm understanding you now, is that it's less than 5 years and they're trying to get us to bend the rules so they can sell it to anybody? Absolutely not.
Right, that's my
All right, so we'll
understanding.
tell them they
And
got-
if-
Sounds
tell
pretty,
them to bring the
I
buyer.
didn't know that. You know that, Selby, that's what we're being asked to do here?
Right, they're asking us to remove the reverter, so we're gonna tell them that they have to present a potential buyer to us for us to review, and we'll make a recommendation from there.
Wait a minute. So the staff recommends that we get rid of the reverter?
Additionally, we're gonna recommend we just release the reverter. She doesn't live here anymore. We were concerned about maintenance, and we just wanted to see that lot,
But when you're saying you're recommending us, the committee, to release the reverter, and it's less than 5 years,
yes.
so are you asking us to let them sell it to anybody they want? Make an exception for them?
That was,
No, not specifically for them. We wanted to release the reverter and then vet the new buyer.
Yeah, but do we have language to protect us so that we can do that? If
we haven't
release
released
the
it. We have the reverter
Well,
on
that's
there.
it.
We'll just have them,
What do you want? I'm not familiar with the legal mumbo jumbo here, how this is gonna work.
all right, so we'll inform them that they need to bring the new buyer to us to vet, and that we would have to approve the sale. At the end of the day, we have to release the reverter in order to allow to facilitate the transfer, because the reverter exists on the deed. So procedurally, we have to release a reverter, but in practice, you want to review and vet the new buyer before we agree to release the reverter so that they can sell that to the new buyer.
Yes, and
That's
that's
always
always
what
been
we
the
do.
land bank, that's always been a land bank practice.
Yes.
Yeah, so you asked us to recommend something that we really shouldn't have done. On the surface of it, it sounds like you're saying just let them out the door. But you say, yeah, but we're going to review that. But I don't know how this works. If we
So
didn't bring
the
it
way
up,
the way,
didn't bring it up,
Right,
what
so
were
what
you
I'm-
going to do?
what's that?
If we didn't ask these questions and we said, okay, staff says go ahead, release the reverter, what was going to happen next?
We would vet the buyer.
And how do we know that in the committee?
Because that's our practice, that's our day-to-day operation here.
Do we have a
So we
policy
can make that more
somewhere
clear.
we have something that says
I'll look and see if I have something, specific to the policy. I know it's been practice.
Yeah, well, it's something that's very important to our mission here. No, we don't want to get into flipping
So-
business.
Okay, so I think for the committee to move forward on items 3A and 3B, we need a motion to approve an extension of the option agreement for the properties on Albany Street and a approval to, well, I guess I would pull that off of here. I would just do that one, and then what we'll do is we'll have the buyer or have the owner send us who the new buyer is, we'll vet them, and then we'll bring this back.
Good to me.
So we're only going to have you act on the Albany Street the option extension.
Perfect.
Fine.
I'll make
Is there
that
a
motion.
Second?
Sam, second? I heard Joe.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? All right, we're gonna hold 3C to the end of the meeting. There's nothing on number 4 for new acquisitions. We have number 5, new dispositions. Any questions before we move over to that? Okay, thank you, Lillian.
Great, so on your matrix, you have 5 different properties, but on the agenda, there's 4 different properties. And the reason that there's 5 on the matrix is because the first one, 15A Jones Drive, applicant 2163 had applied for it, but they had withdrew their application. The same applicant 2163, had also applied for 31 Ontario Street. Their intended use was gardening, and in the future, possibly build. A brief summary on this applicant is that, again, they withdrew 15A Jones Drive and is now pursuing 31 Ontario Street for a proposed community garden project featuring raised garden beds. The property's proximity to their office makes it ideal for ongoing maintenance and supervision, and the applicant resides in Latham and was specifically drawn to the parcels that are level or require minimal gardening, which is why these lots stood out. So again, it's on their, it's close to their office, and they pass by it every day. And the applicant operates a professional commercial cleaning and maintenance service company, which demonstrates their experience with property care, upkeep, and project management. That being said, the staff recommends approval of applicant 2163 for lot 31 Ontario Street.
Can we actually table this one? I just reached out to planning about this, and unfortunately that the zoning there precludes gardening unless it's an accessory use. And I believe the planning department's working on revisions to better address properties like this and community gardens in that sense. But we should probably table this, just make sure that the applicant's aware of that, and so they can have a conversation with the planning department. I don't want to accidentally land them in hot water, especially, and then the notes, the intended use about possibly building, a little more clarity from them there would be great.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was also talking to Sean about this. I know you guys are working on it, but we have disposed of a number of lots of this nature where their intended use was community gardens that just haven't materialized. So I'm a little hesitant to put up another one, especially this location that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense if you're not living right there for a community garden or gardening. So I'm for tabling it as well.
And I go back to and I don't know the zoning on this, but I go back to what I always say, if we have a lot that's buildable, I don't think we should be disposing it for a garden, especially with the housing crisis that we have right now.
Okay.
Good. Moving on to item 5B, which is for 49 Park Avenue. The applicant's intended use for 49 Park Avenue is to first clean and beautify the vacant lot and then repurpose it into a community-oriented space. The plan purposes using the upper portion of the lot, which is facing Charles Street, for parking, while the lower portion would be developed into a winterized orangery featuring exotic fruit trees, herbs, and plants. The applicant also envisions creating a 10-table orangery-style diner that would host herbal health classes during the day and offer romantic dining and cultural entertainment in the evening. And so a little background and brief summary of the applicant. The applicant was asked to complete a few different items that weren't submitted, which was Form A for the project budget and timeline, provide proof of income, such as W-2s and pay stubs, and submit confirmation of zoning and building compliance, including the official IRS approval letter for tax documentations. Because the applicant submitted 2023 taxes, but didn't demonstrate extension for 2024 taxes. And the applicant also showed a retirement loan, but didn't show any other proof of funding. And then there was also proof that 50 Myrtle Street property taxes weren't paid. And so we asked them for an updated documentation of proof of payment for those, in which we didn't receive. And then for 36 Myrtle Avenue, there is open code violations and no vacant building registration on file. Additionally, the applicant currently owns over 13 properties throughout the city of Albany and has applied 18 times previously, but was found ineligible each time due to ongoing code violations associated with their properties. So due to that, staff recommends that we reach out to the adjacent neighbors to let them know that there's lots available. Well, there's a lot available in their area.
Yeah,
I don't understand in relationship to their bad record. It sounds like they have a bad record, so we wouldn't have sold it to them. And your recommendation is that they should reach out to the neighbors? But what does that mean? I don't quite understand the truth.
No, so staff recommends that us as staff members, so the land bank reaches out to adjacent neighbors, so that we don't approve the buyer or the applicant. We just reach out to adjacent neighbors in the area.
We want to make sure that none of the adjacent neighbors know that the property is available, and then we'd update our outreach there.
Well, I thought that was a standard procedure. We always do that. We always
We
have
don't
to
always
send letters.
outreach to,
Oh. So
I'm sorry,
the
what address?
recommendation,
Natisha, we're on 49 Park Ave.
the building fell down. Remember the big bad story? It's next to 51, which is the house I built for the Hesters. Vacant lot.
Yeah, it's in the Mansion neighborhood. I agree with the staff recommendation here, and I can assist with that as I meet somewhat regularly with a group of neighbors over there. So I'll let folks know it's up for sale.
So we're
And I
telling
agree.
applicants they're not approved, right? We do.
Yes,
The
that
recommendation not to approve them and then reach out, right? So that's the piece that was missing. The staff recommends us not approving this person and recommends that we reach out. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Great. The best way.
Sounds
I would
good.
think
Any
number
more?
51 Park would be the most logical person. An owner occupant. He lives right next door.
Yeah, so we tried to, we did reach out to adjacent neighbors based off of the data that we found online. We called, I think it was 51 Park, and I want to say maybe 45 Park. But we weren't able to reach anyone, unfortunately. So we were going to maybe send out some mail to see if we can get in contact with someone that way. But yeah, I'll
But
definitely get in contact
are we
with you.
gonna list the price at 5,000?
Yeah, it is listed at the moment 5,000, but that can definitely be something that's revisited.
The other way, just to
Do
talk
we
to the
still
committee,
have
you
to,
say 5,000 or best offer, like that. You say it that
Do-
way.
do we still
I
have
don't know.
to get a little, get a lot for a little, get a little for a lot? I don't remember what it's called. Do we still have that program?
Not right
Spend,
now.
you mean spend a little, get a lot?
Spend a little, get a lot. That's it.
Yeah. I think it's still in our policy, but I don't think we've put anything into that in quite some time.
Well, the guerrilla marketing here is you go to 51 Park and say, sell it to you for 2,000, and they say, no, I only want to pay 100 or 500 or something. And then
Yeah.
you cut a deal.
I mean, this.
You get it
Yeah,
out the
spend
door.
a little, get a lot. Yeah. To Natisha, your question, the spend a little, get a lot allows, homeowners and qualified tenants who are within 500, and this is wrong in the policy, it should be updated, within a 500 square foot radius of the identified property. I think that's meant to be a 500-foot radius of the property
square.
are able to apply to the
Yeah.
spend a little, get a lot program.
Right. And I could be, and I'm sure Sam and Charlie could correct me, but I think we had good success with that when we initiated that program.
Yeah. Well, and also look at it this way. If 51 Park finds out that they can qualify for spend a little, get a lot, they buy it in a, because it's right next door to them.
Mhm.
I didn't even know why you have to
Yeah,
go
but-
through all that. You just, if that's what you're gonna sell it for, say, look, we'll sell it to you for $100 or 500 or whatever the number is.
Right, but when we reach out, we didn't hear from them, so.
Well, that's because you listed it for $5,000. I wouldn't call them either. They don't know that you might negotiate.
When I left the voice
You didn't leave the
message,
door open.
it wasn't,
They said it's $1,000, and someone said, not me. But if you found out that the land bank is willing to negotiate because you're a joiner, then you begin the conversation with them and cut a deal.
Yeah, but Shelby didn't even get a bite back to say, hey, we got a property next door to you, give us a call.
Another way to look at it is you call the property owner and say, how much would you pay for that lot? Right?
Mhm.
And they'd say,
Well, that's what we,
well,
that's what we did with Sand Creek Road. We went, I went and knocked on the door and let them know that
Yeah.
we had a lot next door to them. But they had been, they had looked before, they didn't come around. They came around this time, so sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, but we can try to, once again on that outreach, and we can go a little further out with, getting a mailing list of
Somebody-
500,
live needs to talk to the live owner of 51, a live person, not an email thing.
Yeah,
Just
Shelby
a
had-
live person.
Shelby
We represent
Shelby
land
attempted
bank.
to.
No.
Yeah, Shelby attempted to contact them and didn't get a response.
You attempted to contact her. Did you actually talk to the owner? That's what I'm wondering.
No, she attempted to she made an attempt and she reached out to them and didn't hear from them. They didn't return
That's
her
right.
call.
And what I'm saying is that you try to get a hold of that person. You know where they live, right? You just go knock on the door.
yeah, we'll work on different strategies, because we just did, the phone call. But we'll definitely work on sending mail and then knocking on their door to see if anyone gets back to us.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you were looking someone in the eye and said, how much would you pay to get the vacant lot next to the house you own? You might get a rise out of them, and you might say, well, yeah, I would like to get that lot, but I don't want to pay very much for it. Well, what would you pay? And they say, well, $100 or $500 or something, and then we have to make the decision whether we want to take that offer. So we have to get their interest first, and I don't think they quite no one's ever face-to-face said, you know that you can get the lot next to your house for $100 or something? You know, I find it hard that they would say no, if you put it that way, face-to-face.
Okay.
Alrighty, sounds good. So we decided, not to approve applicant 1051. But just to go back into reaching out to the, adjacent neighbors, face to face, via mail, all things possible for sure. Any more questions or comments on that one? Okay, perfect. So we're gonna move on to, applicant 2097, which had applied for 34 Second Avenue and 42nd Avenue. This applicant proposed redevelopment includes a full gut renovation with new roofing and windows, all new interior walls and closed cell installations, and completed replacement of plumbing and electrical systems from the point of entry. Interior finishes will be entirely updated, including a new kitchen and bathrooms. The project will also feature a new HVAC system and heat pumps, a new exterior deck conversion from a single family to a two-family home, removal of existing gas service, and installation of a new smart electric meter. This applicant owns two other properties, 2 Spring Street, which is currently used as a residential property, and 281 State Street, which is presently operating as a guest house, but is in the process of being converted into a multifamily dwelling. Both of these properties were acquired in 2024. So staff recommends approval of applicant 2097 for 34 Second Avenue, and then possibly an optional agreement contingent upon demonstrated progress for 42nd Avenue.
Question here, the option agreement for 40, would that preclude anyone else from making offer on it?
Yes, that would.
What?
It would lock that up for them. This applicant has experience, and so we wanted to not dissuade him. In fact, we even discussed too that he has his own crew that does the work, and for him to mobilize, to do 34 and then remobilize to do 40, we even talked about whether or not we would just approve both sales with the enforcement mortgage, because as let's say the framing crew is done on 34, they can just then go to 40, and they don't have to remobilize it for the next site. So that's what the other approach we could take here. The board has typically not been in favor of that. We wanted to give somebody who hasn't had experience with us directly to do one and then come along to do the other. So that's why we added the option in here. But I could also see the case for also approving Mr. Ken, the applicant for both of these, because he is going to bring his own crews to do the work.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I know he's doing 281 State. Have you guys had a chance to tour that one yet? Or have you had?
Sorry, Sam. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was stuttering. Yeah, you guys haven't had a chance to. Has he showed you 281 State by any chance?
He hasn't showed it to us, but we did do, we vetted to see if there was like any taxes due or any code enforcement's open and things of that nature, and it seems pretty clean.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, he generally everything in buildings and codes and planning, we've broadly had pretty good experiences with this property owner. I do sort of want to hold true to the one property at a time until you've proven your ability to handle multiple properties. in my experience with him, he seems to be able to handle it well enough. And the mobilization argument does make sense to me here. It's these two properties are practically next to each other, so I know we're changing my general preference from what I normally say, but I'm actually okay with selling both of them here. And we've had both properties for quite some time, correct? It's not like we just got both of these. These have been with us for several years now, right?
Give me a moment, I can give you I can calculate the days. For Second Ave. Shelby, do you think we could probably get into call him to go into 281 before
Yeah.
the board meeting?
Mhm.
Yeah, I toured it, I want to say it was January of this year. He actually brought me in on that property. I went along with one of our building inspectors, and that place was down to the studs in some areas and needed a decent amount of work. So if he's, done a good job on that, and that building was pretty big. I'm
Yeah.
fully on board with selling them both at the same time here because of the proximity. If they were across the city, there's no argument really for mobilization, but because they're right next to each other, that makes complete sense to me, and it's a good way to help rehabbers save on costs and makes these rehabs a bit more cost efficient.
Yeah, and to give you 34 Second Avenue, looks like we've had that for at least 3,000 days in inventory, and 42nd Ave we've had for at least 2,000 days in inventory.
Yeah, I say I'm in this instance I'm okay with selling them both. I don't see, the option. I'm not a fan of the option because if we're only going to sell them one, we should still make the other available in case someone else comes along. But we haven't in a while, right? So I think we should just sell both. And that
Yeah,
offer
I would
price
agree.
was for each individually, right? So you're talking it's what, 75 total?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm okay with both
More or
at,
less,
at,
yeah.
at the same time here. Charlie, Natisha, you guys thoughts on that? I know it's a little different from what we normally do.
I mean,
No, I'm in agreement with that.
All right. So we'll try to get into C-281 state before the board meeting, but like you said, Sam, everything, if you've been through or have seen some of the work and you're confident on it, we'll still try to get there, but if we don't, at least, we're gonna go to you on it, so. So we'll pull off, we are not gonna move ahead with 15A Jones Drive. We're not moving ahead with 31 Ontario Street and not moving ahead with 49 Park Avenue. Instead, moving ahead with 34 Second Ave and 42nd Avenue, both applicant 2097.
Correct. Yep, that sounds like what we discussed.
Perfect. All right. Make a motion to recommend that to the full board.
I'll make that motion.
Sam, do I have a second?
Second,
Charlie. I got Charlie first there. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? All right, we'll move back to 3C. Before we do that, can we have a motion to enter executive session to just have a discussion regarding proposed pending or current litigation?
So moved.
Sam, in a second.
second,
Tisha? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or any abstentions? All right, that motion carries, and just for the record here, we will not be returning to a regular session. We're just going to adjourn directly from that. There'll be no action taken during executive session. This is primarily for an update within the confines of executive session here.